Hey, what's going on? This is Roots. This is Virtual Strangers. You've found our review discussion of Trover Saves the Universe. So let's go ahead and get started with it. Release date was PSVR May 31st. It came out on PC June 4th. Going to pretty much primarily focus on the PC version as we have all tried it on PC. But if anybody's interested in checking out the port, or want to know how it is, definitely let us know because Wes has it coming from Gamefly and he is going to check it out. And I'm sure we'll be talking about it in a week or two as well. I mean, you'd have to live under a rock to not know about Trover Saves the Universe. I mean, it's been one of the biggest hyped games that I remember, obviously, because it's related to Rick and Morty, which is suddenly, or I guess not suddenly, it's been a phenomenon as far as I've seen. I didn't even know what it was until a few years ago, and I've watched every episode. So if you don't know, Justin Roiland's the writer on that, and he has a very weird sense of humor. And to me, the comedy is what makes this game. I mean, the platforming as well is amazing, but it's definitely a good. A good game for sure. So graphics. Let's talk about graphics. Alex, what do you think about the graphics on Trover Saves the Universe?
Yeah, this game actually surprised me. Do you want to run the footage, by the way?
Yeah, let
Uh,
me run a footage. That'll be good.
yeah, this game surprised me because I'd seen some trailers and stuff, and it didn't look particularly that. I mean, it looked okay, but it didn't look really amazing graphically. And I don't know why I get surprised by this, but VR games look so good in VR. I mean, it just always surprises me. I don't know why, but when you're sat in the room and you've got Trover right there in front of you, and he looks pretty big when you're sat because you're sat in a chair, like you're the chair open, and Trover comes in and he's talking to you, so you're kind of sat down. He's a pretty deep big dude, and you just get that. I think it's an Unreal Engine game, and I went into the settings, I turned things on high, and I just left it at that, and it looked really nice. It ran really well. Yeah, I was surprised how good this game looked. It's got some really good high quality, like the assets in the game are really well made. It's like a AAA game basically. It just feels like one. And when you're in VR, it's just incredible to see the detail because you can see the detail so much more when you're in VR. So you can just see the shading, the lighting, and everything. It just feels really good. Wes, what did you think to the way this looked?
Yeah, I was actually curious to hear what you guys thought about it because, like you, I was surprised at how good it looked. I wasn't expecting it to look as good as it does. But that said, I've just moved over to a new headset. I have my new Rift S, and everything looks better in it than it did before on the old Rift. So I'm glad to hear you say that it's not just the headset, but
No, no.
yeah, the depth in this game is very impressive. The 3D depth, and it creates a real sense of presence, like you're there in this world, and very vibrant, beautiful contrast in the lighting and shading of the game, and yeah, graphically very clean, and not much aliasing in it. I mean, I didn't
No,
see very
no.
many jaggies. Though that said, I am running 1080 Ti. I did turn all of the settings up to high, but yeah, very clean, very good looking game.
Yeah, it impressed me, and I what I really impressed me is the color. It's just so colorful. I love colorful worlds like this, and it just everything popped. So I would imagine with the Index and with the Rift S, it's just gonna be amazing. So I'm gonna have to wait a little bit to find out, but I'm
The
definitely
three,
looking forward to it.
I was gonna say the 3D, like you said, it really popped this game. Just the visuals and the sense of scale as well. There's some we won't get into spoilers too much, but there's some characters that they're pretty big dudes. I mean, what are those guys? The abstainers. They're pretty big. And
Hmm.
when you're stood in front of you, and it's something that VR does so well. It's something that doesn't like portray in a flat screen just the sense of scale of things. And these dudes are like, I don't know how big, what would we say, about 9 foot, 10 foot tall or something.
Yeah,
No,
you're
they're
having to
real.
look up.
Yeah, they're massive. I mean, I don't know if that would portray very well in flat, but in VR, it surprised me how uh, VR still surprises me today. But yeah, it did surprise me just how big everything looks and the sense of scale that they've played with. Because this game is a flat game. It's worth mentioning that you can play it flat. But Justin Roiland, the reason he got into VR development is because into game development is because of VR. So he's made this for VR, but they've obviously seen the potential of releasing it as a flat game as well, because obviously it will sell well as a flat game. But the primary thing with this is that it's a VR game, and you can tell that it's been made with VR in mind, just with the way that you sat in the chair. It's like a really cool way that they've got you sitting in this chair and moving around the world. Ruuts, I'll let you talk more on that, on the gameplay side of things, and how you move around and.
Yeah, gameplay is really cool. You got those nodes. You essentially you're stuck in your chair, and at first you kind of feel like, oh, I'm just stuck in this chair. But he can only go as far as so far. You have to teleport around. And I will note, this is funny. I just fucked the shit out of this guy up. Okay, I started to walk away, and he started talking shit to me.
Yeah.
So I went back.
He did that. Yeah, he did that twice.
Him.
He kept doing that, and I went back. That's the thing with this game. We should talk about this now, actually, because the dialogue in this game is so insane. But it's not just the dialogue; it's the way that you can interrupt things, and then it just seamlessly carries back on. Or you feel like you're actually influencing the way that the conversation's going. And like with that dude, you've obviously just beat the shit out of him. I went away, and like he was talking smack. 'Cause like when I first got my saber thing, I hit him a few times and he was like, oh no, don't hit me. And then we walked away and he's like, yeah, you pussies, walk away. So I went back and like hit him a few more times, like, oh no, don't hit me. So then he went back away again, and then he was like, went back again, and yeah, and ended up killing him. But it was just funny that you could probably just leave him and he wouldn't have killed him. And there's things later in the game where he references you killing people. So if you didn't kill him, the dialogue would have been different completely.
Oh, I wonder.
Honestly, I don't know how they managed to get this dialogue to work the way they did, but it's seamless with the way it just feels really fluid and seamless, and you can just interrupt and change the way the conversation goes like nothing I've never experienced before.
It was so funny when after I killed him, Trover, like, you're starting to look around and he's like, you just killed somebody. Let's get the fuck out of here. Like it just was, everything humor wise was so good. So many good moments, and I haven't finished it. It's one of those games that it's going to take me a while to finish because I don't want it to end. If that makes sense. Like I just enjoy it so much that I want to know that I've got more. And I guess that's one thing to touch on. The devs have said that they're not going to lower the game price over time, but they are going to add free DLC. So we do have DLC to look forward to for sure.
I've finished it, and I will say that there's loads of moments in this game where you have to make a decision to like kill one person or another, or just not kill someone. And that comes up time and time again. I think it's really, and I don't want to spoil the ending, obviously, but it's just really cool the way that they've done these decisions. I mean, they don't really affect the story in terms of where you're going to go, but they just make you feel like if you play through it again, you could do it differently, and the dialogue would change, and that depending on how long you hang around, you can just listen to them talk for a while, to the point where they'll even refer to you like it's very self-aware. This game, it's aware that you are a game. They reference it loads of times, and Wes, have you got anything more to add about the dialogue on this? Because I think that's the main selling point for me with this, was the talking and the discussions and everything.
Yeah, definitely. It's the highlight of the game is how the dialogue is done. And the branching narratives too was something that surprised me. When I was in Squeamy World, and you get to the end of that and you have a decision to make, and we're going to kill one dude or kill the other dude. I actually chose to kill the first guy that we meet in the world, and Trover talked me out of it. He's like, okay, yeah, that dude's a piece of shit. He deserves it. Yeah, we'll kill him. But wait a minute, are you sure? Because this guy over here, he sucks pretty bad too. And then he starts talking about all the things that this guy's doing and what he just did to you. And he changed my mind. And I decided, after all, to kill the jerk at the top there. And yeah, I'm wondering. I'm going to have to play through this again with the censored version on, because there is so much profanity in it, and it's shocking and it's hilarious how it's done. But I'm wondering, does it hold its humor without all the profanity?
I think it would.
I think you're right. I think a lot of the joke here is you get this feeling that when he was writing the story for this game, that he literally just wrote the first thing that popped into his head. And that's why it's so funny, because he's like, well, we're going to go to Squeamy World. Yeah. And we have to get the crystal of whatever so that we can go to the inner sanctum of the abstainers. And it's like he just came up with it randomly. And that's why it's so funny. And like you said, the dialogue is seamless and you affect it. And it just turns on a dime, like it's natural, like it's really happening. And it's very impressive and it's very hilarious.
Like you can interrupt them sometimes, and then like something will happen, and then they'll like go, oh yeah, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, we're talking about this, and then they'll just go straight back into what they were talking about before. And it's literally, it took me about 5 hours to finish this game, and at no point did I feel like it was like stitched in audio that was just like interrupting and changing. It just felt seamless the entire time. I don't know what system they've used or how they've done it, but god damn, it's impressive how they've done that. And there's also, like you said a bit about the moments where you can decide things. You can actually sit and nod or shake your head, and you can decide yes and no, and that comes up loads of times. And there's times when you're in that teleport pod, and the guy, like the boss guy, and he's like, Trover's saying what happened, and he'll be like, shut up, Trover. Is that true? And then he'll go, oh yeah, I'm glad you. And it's like, it's just so, there's so many funny moments that aren't anything to do with swearing. Just the way that they've played it all out is just, the swearing is just part of it. But I don't think it'd be, I don't think it'd lose much of its charm if the swearing was taken out. I don't think.
Let me ask you this, Wes. How do you not want to kill somebody that throws a pile of shit in your face? Because that was my thought. I was like, no, this dude just threw some shit in my face. He's dying. He's dying.
Well, the other guy, we can't forget that this guy, not only did he spit his green goo all over you right after you first meet him, but he's a peeper. He was watching the other guy do his business. I don't want to get too graphic here, but the other guy was doing some very private things in his home, and this guy was peeping on him. That guy's a creep. They both deserve to die. After I killed Michael, I went back to try to kill the first guy too, but it wouldn't let me.
A bit spoilery, but there's no clear cut.
It's early.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. There's no clear cut sort of. I should definitely do that. It's like there's always a positive and negative to you deciding what to do. Mm-hmm. Like all the characters are fucking annoying in this game, you know. So
it's like this dude with this crystal. Look where he keeps this crystal at, and you're supposed to want this thing, right?
Yeah, it's incredible. This story, and it just blew me away. That's the main thing that blew me away. But I think it should be worth mentioning that the gameplay isn't actually just like an afterthought as well. I mean, Ruuts, I know you've said this, and Wes, you've said this as well. The gameplay is actually good. I mean, Ruuts, do you want to carry on talking about the gameplay?
It's really good. Like I said, that chair, it's like they keep adding mechanics. Like they'll give you an upgrade to your chair where you can elevate higher to where you can actually see. So you pop up 2 different levels, so it gives you that sense of height, right, for VR. So I thought that was really cool. And there's areas where you can't, when you first discover it, you jump Trover over something and he starts getting killed by something you can't see, and then he's like, oh well, let me give you this upgrade. And then so they keep adding all these little things like that, and so that's cool. That it doesn't feel like the gameplay is an afterthought. It almost feels like, it easily could have started with the gameplay, which I'm sure it didn't. With Justin Roiland, it had to have started with the story, but it's so good and it's so intuitive the way it feels. And like you said, Alex, like when he comes, you're running him around, he comes running back up, he's at height, he's big, it's just very impressive. Everything about the gameplay is
it just feels like it's been designed together as a cohesive thing with the dialogue and the movement and just the way that they refer to the game as a game, and all the time is like, oh, pop up, just pop up, like it's telling you to pop up, and you pop up, and then, oh, I can't see you, and it's just really well done. The way, like even just the beginning when you sat in that room, made me laugh so much. Where you're watching the TV and they're saying, if you just move the stick, and you'll rotate left and right, and you can just sit there and wait, and they'll keep saying, like, and what you could do is you can just you can just go left, or you can just go right, you can look left, and like it's just so good the way that it's done it, and it just feels incredible. Technical achievement. I love this game. It's so good. Yeah.
This part right here I thought was particularly funny because you get up to the top puzzle here, and if you take too long, Trevor's just like, man, just screw it. Just come down here and we'll just break the gate. Screw
I
that puzzle.
I didn't get the puzzle. I presume you can't even do the puzzle. But yeah, he's like, hey, what sort of game is this? What sort of cheap game design is this? Why are they just throwing in a puzzle game? This isn't a puzzle game. And it's just the way they keep referring back to the fact that it's again a game, and it's
yeah.
But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go.
No, I was just going to reaffirm what Alex said. This game had very surprising gameplay. How well it was. I thought that the entire draw of this game was going to be in the humor, and it was going to be something I wanted to play through one time and be done with. But this is a hack and slash platformer game, and it has solid hack and slash mechanics. And it's a very well-designed platformer, especially if you're going to go through and find all of the Power Babies and collect all of them. There are some very hard-to-get-to areas in this game, some secret areas, and there was more than one place that I had to make multiple attempts to get to. So some challenging platforming, some fun battle, and I was very impressed from a gameplay standpoint at just how good this game is.
Yeah.
It was definitely to me, it's a lot of people questioned the $29.95 before it came out, and even with the understanding that you have real commodity of Rick and Morty backing as far as who it is, it's that alone would be the $29.95 draw. But $30 for this game, I think, is almost too cheap. I'm not telling the devs to raise it, but it's almost too cheap. It's that good of a game.
Yeah, and they're adding more to it as well, which, I mean, just watching you play this, it makes me want to go back in. I want to go back in this game, even though I've finished it, just to listen to the dialogue and the people talking. Hey, I'm upgrade guy, and I can upgrade you if you do this for me. It's like just so.
Did you kill his pet? Well,
yeah,
I guess
I think I don't think no matter what you kill a pet. But yeah, it's just funny.
It's just funny, man.
It's so funny. The dialogue. It's like Wes, what you said. It just feels like, even sometimes when they're having a conversation, you can kind of feel like he's just talking. He's just making it up. He's not pre-written it. He's just kind of like just talking, and he's like, yeah.
This kills me how the Power Babies eat one another when you get an upgrade. It's gruesome. And I was in this game earlier today, and on the title screen it does now say hot DLC coming soon.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Oh, nice! Already,
I can't wait to go back in and try more of this stuff, because it's so. I said to you earlier on before we recorded that it's a game you just keep thinking about. You play it, and then after you've played it, you're still thinking about it, and you still got freaking Trover's voice in your head talking to you and things, and so good. We could talk about this for ages, but we probably need to move on. That's the sound as well. I think that's worth bringing up. The sound of the game. Obviously, it's got some music, and the music's quite cool. I like the music. I think it's quite good. Obviously, we've talked about the dialogue already. We already know enough about that, the voice acting. But I think it's worth mentioning the music's pretty cool as well. They've done a good job with that, setting the mood and the atmosphere depending on what level you're on and where you're on. And yeah, anyone else got anything to say on that?
Yeah, I'll just say this: that while it's true that this game is obviously made for VR, from a quality standpoint, this is on a quality level of a AAA flat game. It really is. So I agree with Roots. I understand his point of view when he says that maybe $30 is a little bit underpriced for this. You know, I can see it. This is a quality title, and I think anybody who enjoys platforming or any kind of this kind of humor is going to have a blast playing this game.
I agree. Yeah, I think this is a definite recommend. I actually bought this on a little bit of a sale, but it's worth full price, like Root says. I don't think you need to wait for a sale if you like this sort of humor. Obviously, that's the main caveat to it. If you've played like Accounting or Accounting Plus and you didn't like it, or you've played Rick and Morty, or you don't like Rick and Morty, you might find it annoying more than funny. But I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. So.
Yeah, and definitely not for children. And if bad language offends you, don't even go past the title screen on this one because it's nonstop.
Yeah. Okay, do we want to go into spoilers, do we think? Or I don't think you guys have finished it, so there's not much point in spoiling it for you.
For us, yeah.
Yeah, because there's loads to talk about. We maybe need to do a separate spoiler cast for this, but yeah. Anyone else want to add anything on this, do you think, before we wrap it up?
I was just going to ask you, yeah, I know you used the controller, right? You can see I'm using the touch controller.
That's a good point.
Did you find anything good about the touch controllers aside from, I mean, to say that there was, because the biggest problem is when you pick up a levitating object, there's no way to differentiate between picking it up and moving it and spinning it. So you're constantly moving it and spinning it. And so when you try to fit it in a hole, it just becomes a logistical nightmare. I got good at it and I didn't mind it. But I did, after I talked to you in Discord, I did switch to the controller, and I did find that there is also a benefit to that I liked as well. I'm not sure which one I like better. I do like lifting up and seeing my hands move. It does give me a little bit of immersion, but I guess it depends on how much you're using that levitation thing, you know?
Yeah, once I switched to controller, I never went back. I just found it so much better, just moving him around, fighting. And the main thing was, because there's a point in the game where you get this levitation power, where you can pick objects up and rotate them around. And if you're using the touch controllers, you have to hold the left grip and then use the left analog stick. And it sounds simple when you say that, but I really struggled with it. It was like you said, Roots, you feel like you're constantly rotating it around, whereas when you're just using the D-pad, I don't even have to think about it. It just feels more natural. I didn't miss being able to lift my controller, because when you're playing it, you don't really lift your controller up. So my personal recommendation would be just use a controller. It even recommends a controller when you start the game.
That's what I was gonna say. That's one of the first things it tells you, like almost like a warning thing. It's basically saying, "Hey, this was designed for you to use a controller." So Roots used the touch. But I will admit, I do feel like it wasn't done as intuitively. Like I feel like there's no difference in Pixel Ripped. Using touch controllers felt really good. That's why you see at the beginning of this, I'm tilting it. I'm trying to see how that feels. And it was like really weird. I had to tilt it a certain way to get it to turn.
You have to tilt your controllers, right? If you just do like that, they just stay level. If you tilt the controllers together, it will tilt, but it didn't feel one-to-one for me.
Yeah, it felt off.
Yeah.
So I would recommend as well, probably using the but I mean, it's good that you have the option. Maybe, not everybody has a controller, Xbox controller or something, which baffles me. But
it's a good idea to give that support, definitely.
I would like to mention now something that I didn't learn until just recently. I always thought that I didn't have a controller that I could use with Steam VR, but if you go into the controller options in Steam VR, They support DualShock 4 from PlayStation controller. They support the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. So if you have a modern console controller, you compare it to your computer and use it to play this game. And I think that that's a fact that a lot of people don't know about. So
that's true. I didn't know about that until like 2 weeks ago.
Well, one more thing I've just remembered. I just need to mention this to you. When you kill the guys, they on the last breath, my favorite film was Philadelphia, and so some of the lines they come out with,
just weird stuff, right?
Yeah, just like in the ass, and it's like just so funny the way that they just like say these little liners just as they die, and like, yeah, I just remembered after watching that gameplay. Yeah, it's made me chuckle quite a few times. You haven't met Gale yet. When you message me on Discord when you meet Gale, because that was one of you getting this thing with Gale, and it was one of the funniest.
Oh, I think I have. Is that that's the his roommate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you done the battle with it?
Yeah, and
don't say anything. Don't say anything.
No, I was just gonna say that this is one of the things that I put here on the notes. That one of the negatives, is the dialogue for days. Sometimes it can becoming annoying as fuck, because when I was in that Gale scenario, it took me a while to figure out what to do, and he's constantly taunting you, and I'm like, "Fuck you, motherfucker," you know. And so at some point, I'm like, I need to get out of here because he won't shut up.
That bit made me laugh so much.
Yeah.
Come aids, it's like, oh man, so funny. I won't say exactly what happens, but it just goes on and on and on until you finish that bit, and he will not shut up, and it's just so funny what he's saying and everything. Yeah. So we'll leave it there. I think that's it. I could talk about this for ages. So
So I guess we'll leave it there, and we will probably come back with a spoiler at some point episode, just with us three, since when we finish it, it would be interesting to discuss all of that. But
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, so if you like what you saw, definitely like, subscribe, check us out on Discord. We're trying to build a community there. Got some good conversations. Is there anything else either of you wanted to say before we head out?
No, just thanks for watching.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
All right, appreciate it. See you guys next time.
Bye.